players that maybe aren't so used to playing competitively or at such a high level, if you have that kind of guidance. So I do want to see what Gray is able to like make this roster achieve today, because that's pretty much on him to, I think, bring them or at least make this match close.
All right, guys, well, it's time to make some noise. We have Australia facing off against Portugal, and who better to be your casters for this one than Monte Cristo and Doa. Over to you, fellas.
Hey guys, Doa and Monte Cristo here. Australia versus Portugal time. Australia looking so strong in that 4-0 yesterday, but Portugal with the laser kitten core, if you will, adding to that addicted, adding the other guys core. The laser kitten core specifically. You can't just have a regular kitten core. You need a kitten with lasers.
I guess so.
That works.
So I'm just glad that we're casting this match instead of that biased Australian committee member.
No kidding. It's time for some real objectivity to enter into esports casting. Hashtag go SKT.
That's right. Go Korea. But we're not there yet. We're not in Poland. But,
not yet, yeah.
But coming into this match, I'm really excited for this one because both of these teams showed the most cohesion in terms of teamwork out of the other squads in their groups. So this is really going to be, I think, a high-level strategic match with a lot of adaptation going back and forth. I do think you have to give the odds to Australia here, given that they have been competing for the last several months in the OPC as an entire team. But Mozasa and Gray did look fantastic against Sweden.
Oh man, I mean, Gray, probably one of the best Sombras I think I've ever seen outside of Korea. Mozasa, obviously a fantastic tank, and they talked so much about that shot calling that they bring to the team that, you know, when we talked to them a little bit earlier this week, and it really did come through in their match yesterday. In Sweden, maybe not coming in as strong as some people expected, and there was a 2-2 yesterday between those two teams, but here is where I think Portugal really kind of has to prove themselves. Australia, obviously the strongest team in this group right now.
Yeah, I think so. And as we talk about Australia, what really separates them is their strong ult economy. And Portugal did have slip-ups in that department against Sweden, particularly their use of sound barrier was a bit off at times. Not the best timing that we've ever seen. So coming into this match, they've had a day to reflect on their performance, maybe tighten things up a little bit, because they are going to need everything to break this Australian team.
Absolutely. Well, we are getting things started on Kings Row, guys. Australia will be attacking Portugal, defending, of course, in the blue. And, you know, one can hope that Kiki would stay on that Junkrat. I mean, we are, after all, in Australia. So, yeah, why not?
Distinct lack of Australian heroes within this meta, unfortunately. Not Australian-focused meta.
No Roadhog, no Junkrat.
No Junkrat, but Portugal, surprisingly, going with Gray here on the Zenyatta. This is a point you can run Sombra on the defense here on Kings Row. That's a bit of a interesting point, because he has been so dominant on that particular hero, and Portugal has looked the best when they're running the Sombra basically at all times.
True enough, they are going to go for that low ground defense too. Here's Australia comes out. I eat you up over on that Tracer again, of course, just throwing that Sonic Arrow to check things out. Atar on that Soldier, probably one of the best Soldiers I think we've seen this weekend, probably the best. As they take the high ground. Looks like they're going to take the long way around, and Portugal seems to be ready. They're already rotating as well.
Yeah, they're actually coming around for a long flank dive onto the high ground, so adjusting their position. Didn't want to get caught in that back corner, and here they come.
Oh, they're going up, trying to trap Australia in that room. Australia fighting back. They could just drop down into the point here. Atar taking the high ground. I like this position for the 76. Firing away on Kyler, down on the low ground. And now Australia trying to take down Portugal as they come back out of the building. Trill does go down early, though. I like this defense from Portugal. I think they're really ready for what Australia's trying to do.
Yeah, they didn't get stuffed into the back corner and barrage down with the Soldier 76 fire. Yeah. That's going to be a pretty crucial kill there from IEU up onto Horthic.
Nice pick, yeah.
That's right. They can just play back right now, play more defensively while they wait for their own respawns to come in.
Oh, Mozasa goes down, and those respawns, Monte Cristo, are going to start to really have a big impact here. As it's going to take Portugal a lot more time to get people back to point A, and I think Australia's just going to take this one.
Yeah, great communication from both sides, even though Australia is going to cap this point pretty quickly, it seems. A lot of repositioning and trying to get the advantage on the flank, but Australia will come out ahead.
Yeah. So now for Portugal, it's all about setting up that defense in the streets phase, and that can be pretty difficult. Kings Row is not a map where you see teams holding defensively in this point B area too often. Australia already taking like a really aggressive stance here to kind of break up any opportunity for Portugal to get a defense going.
Yeah, you can see Atar being protected heavily with the Winston shield in the defense matrix so far. Cart taking a little bit of time to roll out, but making sure they create enough space that there's not going to be a defense in the choke point from Portugal. And that's a fortunate kill for Kyler. That's going to make things a lot harder.
Yeah. Strong defensive attack for Portugal here in Australia. They don't even want to fight this one. They say, you know what? We can just pull back a little bit. We can wait for the respawn for Aichu up and then get back into it. Portugal falling back as well. Now Zaza coming in. There's a sound barrier for Australia. They really want to get this payload moving. They've been stalled out just a little bit here.
Yeah, Portugal not committing to that very much, though, until now. Yeah, coming back with the Transcendence. Falling back against the sound barrier.
Disco Fever with both Zenyatta ultimates going off. Self-destruct for Portugal. They're going to actually catch RQT with that one. And Orthic coming in with the tac visor, and Portugal actually putting together a pretty solid defense here on point B.
Well, that's what they were doing against Sweden, too. Waiting for support ultimates to come out and then withdrawing and re-engaging has been their specialty so far this tournament. Everybody on the same page when it comes to following those shot calls from Mozasa and Gray. Works out again right here. They're going to get some time off the clock and force a lot of ultimates out of Australia.
Sure enough, Aichu up, looking for that opportunity for the pulse bomb. Goes in, tries to get sick. Ooh, that got absorbed. That one hurts a little bit. Aichu had so many picks yesterday, but today that's not going to be one of them.
Yeah, a little bit Tracer deal on the side, but Kiki's going to pick up a nice self-destruct kill to start things off. Answered in turn by Vortic, and they're brawling inside the pub.
All right, meanwhile, though, the payload keeps moving, so this is all good for Australia here as they kind of pick apart the defense for Portugal. Get stalled out now, but they got quite a bit of distance on that payload. Vortic finally does go down. There's the cleanup. Now Australia going to get a good amount of distance towards point B.
Yeah, Australia getting the crucial picks in the skirmishes throughout those hallways, and that gives them a man advantage, and they're able to take it. IU up again, looking just to stall out on the side, create some cover fire as they move towards point B. Set up on the high ground with the Winston right now, waiting for the dive.
Atar's got that tactical visor ready to go as well, and his team's been playing so well around this guy, giving him so much space to do his work. See if he uses it. There's a Transcendence for Portugal. Maybe after that one's done, we're going to see the soldier ult, but he's got to run now. Portugal getting aggressive with the defense, and Australia just falling back. That was a pretty ill-advised Transcendence for Portugal, and Australia's going to punish it, coming in with their own Zenyatta ult. Atar dashing forward, but he gets a lot of that absorbed by the defense matrix, but maybe not enough. Now Zaza does take out Gumba, and Australia does have to drop that sound barrier to try to keep this push going. That looks so good for Australia coming into it, but I gotta say, I think Kyler did a good job of shutting down that soldier.
Well, again, it's just the disengage, right? You see Portugal holding on and playing reactively with their ult economy. They may be able to finally force this through. Orthic bounced around and beaten against the wall in the corner. So Australia will eventually get that point. It's been a lot of poking so far, a lot of back and forth as both teams attempt to get the edge, but Australia is still setting a very good pace.
Yeah, they're moving it forward pretty quickly, and Portugal's defense has been decent, but not quite good enough. Let's watch that fight one more time. Trill, of course, is popping the Primal Rage and bottling up Orthic in the corner. That's just a sad moment for Soldier 76. You know, it's just a rough day. Should have just stayed home.
Should have just stayed home,
but he's really big in the meta, so that's not possible. Gray with the kill onto Gumba, opposing Zenyatta going down. Aichu up with a little bit of pressure onto him as he has to back away. There's the Transcendence for Portugal coming in again, and Kyler gets that kill. He has actually been doing a ton of work on the D.Va in this defense, and Australia pulling back with 2 minutes remaining.
Atar has had a bit of trouble getting effective tac visors off compared to his dominant performance that he had against Sweden. Portugal very mindful of zoning him out of some of these engagements.
All right. You know, I think if you look at the time between when Atar gets his ultimate and uses it is going to be really long this game because, again, Kyler just zoning so well. There's the self-destruct now. Over the top, doesn't catch anybody. Payload still stopped for the moment. There's the sound barrier for Australia as they try to come in. Good kill onto Horthic to start things out. Atar looking for a bit more, but again, that defensive matrix there to absorb nearly all of it. And Aichu goes down too.
Finally gets Gray though. Gray hiding behind the box, but the fadeaway rocket will take him out. So trading 1 for 1. Australia still pushing forward on this payload. Nobody contesting it right now, so a few more meters towards that point C finish.
Yeah, we're down to about 1:40 left, so Australia with still a decent amount of time to push through this one. Transcendence coming in now. for the red team as they try to get this payload the rest of the way. They've got Portugal kind of bottled up in that room, and that is not where you want to be against a primal raging Winston. Australia setting up this final push maybe. Only a couple more defensive stragglers to get through. Oh no, but there's the sound barrier, and Portugal gets time to get a few more respawns in there.
And Gray is just unchecked in the back right now, chipping away at the Australians in Yada. Gunba not quite going to go down, but it looks like Portugal will be able to hold on this push.
I was really close, and I thought maybe with like the 3 kills or so they got with the Primal Rage, that would have maybe opened up the door, but they just couldn't clean up the reinforcements fast enough with that sound barrier.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. And Gray also was able to get into that back line by switching over to the Sombra. Now has that EMP, so late switch in this map, and that's going to see some success.
That's right. Atar again with that tac visor, but just not a lot he can do. There's the EMP. Portugal getting aggressive. That does go down though. Atar, will he go ahead and pop the ultimate? No, he's not going to be able to because he's dead.
Yeah, didn't have the timing because the EMP hit him right off the start and wasn't going to pop it too late in that engagement when his team was already getting wiped. So Australia looking for one final push here. They've got some great ults to work with. Can they find it? Watch and see. Can Kyler get in his face with that defensive matrix and shut him down?
A lot of ults on both sides, actually, that could come into play here. There's the sound barrier for Australia. Portugal waiting things out. Kiki gets back in the mech. Didn't get anything with that self-destruct, really.
Gray got Atar on the side. He hacked him, actually, so he couldn't use the tac visor.
That's absolutely huge, man. Atar out of the way without even using his ultimate. Kiki goes down. Transcendence a bit late on the Australia side. And Portugal with that EMP now. Looks like they might be able to clean this up. It builds so fast. And Trill has that extra health with the ultimate, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Tac visor at the very end coming in for Atar, but it's too late. And that is it. Portugal will actually stop Australia from getting all 3 points.
Gray's positioning there. He was on the side hiding, and when Atar came around to find the long line of sight for the tac visor, he got hacked and bursted down.
Yeah.
So Gray really saving the map right there for Portugal.
Hey, there's Junkrat. That fan's got to be really happy now. Yeah. So they want Junkrat? There's your Junkrat.
He's probably the only one we're going to see today, Doa.
We got to do some Overwatch cosplay sometime, by the way.
No, we're not doing it.
Can you commit to me that you will Overwatch cosplay with me sometime?
No, I can't
Please?
do that. I'm sorry.
Don't worry, guys. I'll work on it. I will get Monte Cristo to do that. That is awesome. I love it. I've got the Soldier 76 hairline, so I feel like that would fit me best.
And the crankiness.
I'm a grumpy old man as well. That's true. I think Australia is going to be a little bit grumpy as well after that attack round. They didn't quite get it there. Like my segue. I think that was pretty smooth.
so smooth, so natural, Doa.
Yeah.
You're getting up to Golden Boy levels of segue
I know, right
now. But can you shill as well? Can you shill as well?
I'll give it a try. I'll give it a try later.
We learned last week that you couldn't make the plugs for the Spark plugs.
No, we couldn't.
It's a skill you got to work on.
That's true. I've got plenty of time. But Portugal, waiting to start their attack run here. You can see exactly where they need to get that payload to. Australia, of course, going to be trying to stop them, but a bit of a strong start for Portugal, I got to say.
Yeah, definitely looking good, and we'll see if Australia can at least come through on this defense here. They are going to be running a similar composition. Gunbus switching over to the Ana right now, so a lot of potential here for wipes with Atar if they get that nano boost attack visor. But you have to commend Portugal against Sweden. What we saw, well, there we go. Switched it back over. Names on the top. I was a bit worried there for a second, but we got it. I was a bit worried because they were shutting down Atar the same way that Portugal correctly identified the threat from Tavik and really played around him. And Atar has not had as much room as he had in their first match in this tournament.
They're a cerebral team, and it's showing. Looks like some early picks being attempted by Horthick. Doesn't really find the shots he's looking for, so swapping back over to that soldier yet again. And here comes Addicted, sneaking around the outside. Gets spotted, though, by H2up.
Yeah, that's a really early rewind, too. He's not really going to be able to play this Tracer game with the health pack already taken. Did get a Winston bubble from above right there.
I was going to say, if he's got Malzasa with him, he can certainly take the duel. It's not really a duel then anymore, I suppose, is it? Horthick up on the top. Oh, hit with that sleep tart. That did not get absorbed. Kyler not getting there in time, but he is able to chase people back. H2up does go down. Kills on each side here. The brawl in the hotel now.
Yeah, this is where Australia really has to commit, otherwise they're going to have some danger of getting lost on the respawn timers, and they're getting picked apart slowly on the backside of the point.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that even though the kills have been fairly even so far, the respawn, the run back for Australia is so much longer than it is for Portugal right now. And This is going to be a pretty quick point A take for Portugal. They're going to get that payload moving.
Yeah, we saw about the same time left on the clock for both of these teams, so certainly a relatively fast sort of first attack take, but it was a delayed fight. A lot of poking again. Each team sniffing around for each other's vulnerabilities.
Well, both teams ended up getting it pretty quick. We'll see if Australia can put together a decent point feed defense like we saw Portugal put up in their defensive round.
Yeah, Gunba is going to be making a swap on a not as useful when you can't necessarily control this high ground, but as we can see, upper halls, Australia already posted up and looking for an opportunity.
Yeah, they're gonna fire from the top, possibly jump down soon. We'll see. There's the attempt to dislodge them from Portugal. Orthic on that biotic field, trying to stay healthy here. Australia going in, just trying to muscle their way onto the payload, but there's the Transcendence from Gray. Can go ahead and use his self-destruct on the Australia side as well as the sound barrier to keep pushing here. Not a lot of kills going in. There's a Primal Rage now for Mozasa. He does manage to knock Kiki out of the mech, and there's a nice kill for Orthic. Gray goes down on the other side, but this is more or less Portugal's fight.
Fortunately for Australia, they had that sound barrier, but everybody had already scattered on the Portuguese side because they were trying to avoid the self-destruct, so not a lot of value for the support ultimate. Yeah. And Portugal really doesn't have to use much. Fat still has his sound barrier. This should be a quick push here for Portugal, rather. Australia, not with too many tools to work with. Atar's going to have a great tack visor if they want to slow this push down.
Yeah. Orthic, you can see, with that tack visor in the brewery there. Waiting for an opportunity to use it. His positioning has been really good all match long. Comes out against Trill, takes him down. No, forces a Primal Rage actually. And there's the sound barrier for Portugal. Immediately, Orthic dives in with that ultimate. We'll see what he can catch with it. Pulse Bomb didn't get a whole lot. Addicted does go down. Trill with 2 kills already. And it looks like Australia may be able to hold here for a little while.
Yeah, holding at the very end. It looks like Orthic did not expect the Primal Rage from Trill, so opted into that duel, got knocked down, and therefore didn't get the most effective high ground tactical visor that he could. So great crowd control from Australia, and they're going to get themselves a little bit more time. And Portugal now invested quite a lot to get that to work. Kyler resetting his diva suit right now.
Well, that was a good moment for Australia because they needed some time. You know, they needed this breathing room to sort of regroup a little bit and kind of take a bit of the momentum back, because up until that point, it was pretty much all Portugal.
It was.
Attack round.
Yeah, it definitely was. Both Zenyatta's with the Transcendences up, so who's going to force the commitment first? Are we going to see some more disengages, which have been the story of this match so far?
Maybe. Addicted just trying to stay alive right now. He is getting absolutely chased all over the place by Australia. Trill does go down. Both Winstons falling, in fact, for each team. Portugal on the payload coming in. Australia, though, claiming those kills, and with that self-destruct, that's going to force a regroup again for Portugal. They're going to have to hit the reset button on that attack one more time.
Yeah, a lot of time drained off the clock here. So Australia holding this in point B nicely and slowly working up to an ultimate advantage. You don't have to use that Transcendence. Been judicious with holding on to that so far. And Atar nearly back at that tack visor once again.
Yeah, he's been able to get a little bit better ultimates this time around.
Will be a long flank around for Portugal right now, looking to attack from the other side of the cart.
Yeah, Mozasa coming in over the top early on to drop that shield, kind of provide some cover as the rest of his team runs in, and there's the Transcendence as they dive deep. Australia trying to fall back. And now, with the Transcendence from Kunba, they can come back in again. Portugal still on the payload, though. And now with Mozasa's Primal Rage, they might be able to just scatter Australia enough to get some picks here. Addicted's trying. Ooh, Mozasa's so low, though, taken out before he can get back to the biotic field. And now it's all on Orthic. He does manage to pop Kiki out of the mech and get that kill. And it looks like it's cleanup time for Portugal. Very, very close to taking point B here.
Australia committed both of their support ultimates and the tactical visor early in the engagement. And Portugal, again, somehow not dying to any of that whatsoever. Melting away from the cart and not providing any opportunity to get the kills. So Portugal, once again, showing how good they are at disengaging, at getting out of these situations. They've got great reads on when Australia is going to try and make their attack.
Well, this match has really been a fencing match between both of these teams. Lots of thrusts, parries, you know, lots of dodging going down. On the team level, Pulse Bomb comes in, no kills for Addicted though. This has been a great game to watch. Both of these teams playing really well, honestly, and Portugal getting really close to closing this one out. They've got 2 minutes to do it in. There's the Transcendence again, coming in from Gray, just to try to keep things going. Sound barrier for Australia as they charge back in again. Mauzasa does get the kill onto Gunba, though. Both Zenyatta is killed by both Winstons. You can't get much more symmetrical than that. Self-destruct for Portugal, though, does push Australia into the room. They're kind of contained there, and if they can take advantage of it, maybe they can keep pushing here. Australia manages to slide out. I'm not so sure. Atar trying to pick up some kills with that tac visor, but looks like he's not going to get a whole lot. The rest of his team, though, able to capitalize on that. Whoa! Was that just a big knockoff from Kiki there? That's either way, that's the end of the fight.
That is, and it may have looked like an unnecessary tac visor right there, but it kept everybody in that room and prevented Portugal from escaping. So very useful for zoning and to make sure that they're not going to get another push and they can't retreat efficiently. So you buy yourself 10 or 15 seconds by doing that. Certainly worthwhile and good coordination between Atar and eyeing you up.
Certainly. Portugal coming back in. 1 minute remaining for their attack run. Remember, they don't need to finish. They just need to get there. That's just sick onto RQT. That is big for Addicted. They lost Solucio. Australia, though, responding. Portugal has to back away to avoid that self-destruct. Addicted, though, still on the outside. The Lucio is going to be coming back. It's a fast respawn. So Portugal needs to get some pushing done. Here comes Australia with another defensive ultimate. Sound barrier comes in. Oh, Fat died before he could drop the sound barrier completely. That is big in Australia, winning this fight handily with 25 seconds left on the clock and a late Transcendence from Gray. That might be exactly what Australia needed to win this one.
Yeah, Gray tried to salvage that fight, but too many people were already dead. Just a split second, and Fat could have had that sound barrier down. Instead, it's Australia mopping up Portugal, and this is the last attack here.
Well, they've still got the sound barrier, so here we go. Dropping it immediately as they dive in. Mauzasa getting really aggressive. Sound barrier from Australia as well, as Portugal tries to desperately push it forward. Kiki's mech is really low. He needs to back away right now, trying to get to that health pack in the room. Meanwhile, Atar drops the tac visor, gets the kill onto Horthic, and Australia pushing forward. I think they've got this one. Portugal pushed it so far, but in the end, it just wasn't enough. And Australia, as soon as they clean up Gray, will take King's Row.
And that was such an easy defense for a team as coordinated as Australia. You could see they knew the sound barrier was coming because they had already heard the audio cue before it was cut off in the previous fight. Played back, you had plenty of room to work with right there. You know they have to use it to engage, so don't fight them on those terms. Don't play a forward defense. Fall back behind the car, counter with your own sound barrier, and that's when you're going to pick up the kills and close the map. That was good coordination and decisive way to end from Australia. They're playing conservatively and playing safe.
Yeah. I gotta say, I'm just really excited about the series in general because Portugal played really well on their side. It was a close match.
It was, and I'm a bit sad that we didn't get to see more of the Sombra play because she's such a strong hero in this meta, and in my eyes, Portugal has looked much better with Gray on that particular hero. And so when we saw them switch to it, it looked more desperate, but they were very good when they actually had it on the field.
Yeah, it is a little bit surprising to see Gray not pull that out as much. And here, of course, we see yet another highlight from Atar. I mean, not as much of an impact in this particular map as we saw maybe in some other ones yesterday, but, you know, to his credit, it's not really so much his fault. It's just Portugal really knowing how to handle him.
Yeah, and I think we need to see more Sombra maps come out, which we will see probably with the next selection.
Oh, Portugal's got the choice.
Yeah, they have the map choice here, and it looks like it is going to be Lijiang Tower. I don't know. That's
Control Center?
Yeah, that's a little bit dicier. I wonder if they've got something else in store.
It's tough to say. I mean, it's not the greatest Sombra map ever, but we'll see what they've got in mind.
Yeah, I am intrigued, and I think that if Portugal isn't going to put that heavy emphasis on the Sombra pick, that they're eventually going to fall to Australia here, because even though we've seen good coordination from both of these teams, Australia seems to have just a little bit of edge. But I will say that Portugal and their use of sound barriers today has been drastically better than we saw against Sweden, where some of them were a bit more thrown away.
I just don't get why, when you've shown that the Sombra is so strong, and you know it is on the Portugal side, you choose not to use it against what is clearly the strongest team in the group.
Yeah, I don't know what the long plan is here, and you know, you have to think that this is going to be crucial for Portugal. Australia expected to take the victory here, but every map is so important in this format.
Definitely.
And because they've already split with Sweden, taking a map or two off Australia could be the difference between second and third place.
Yeah, it certainly could be. Sweden, of course, not coming out again, quite as strong as I think a lot of people expected. So,
but they still got the 4-0, right?
They
didn't drop a map, which is so important.
Which is why Portugal really needs to take every opportunity they can to get a single map win at least off of Australia.
Looks like Portugal is at least looking like they are going to be running the Zenyatta once again. Could be in for some mirror compositions here. Nobody going to be pulling out anything too crazy on Garden. This is a map we sometimes see the Pharah on, but
yeah, not a lot of Pharah players in this stage. It seems like we've seen it a little bit, but nobody really a super well-known Pharah out of these teams we've got here in Sydney. And here we go, Portugal in the blue, Australia in the red as we move into Lijiang Tower. Atar coming up, but it's Horthic who gets the early kill onto Trill with his Soldier 76. Australia kind of bottled up in this house in the back, and Portugal trying to take advantage of it, looping around the side, trying to cut off the reinforcements and get in a position where they can get the point as soon as it spawns.
Yeah, they still have time though, and Gunma's gonna pick off Addicted. That is absolutely huge, but Atar gets pooped off alongside his teammate straight off the map. So Fat coming up with a big play, and IEU just needs to reset.
Yeah, I know it shows another boop for Fat, but IEU, he wanted to go at that point. He's like, yeah, it's time to reset. So Portugal does claim the fight early off of that pretty awesome defensive play from Fat.
That was a very clutch boop right there, straight off the map.
That was PH Fat.
It was. Yeah. I have to agree with his name at this point in time.
Fat boop. Here we go, RQT coming back in, looking for boops of his own, perhaps. Trill does go down yet again, and it's Portugal who takes the early lead in this fight. Australia having a little bit of trouble crossing the bridge to get close, and yeah, it's going to be another reset.
Well, it's always a trick to cross this bridge if you're not in control of the point already. So yes, as you say, reset coming through. Kiki leaps to his doom off of Lijiang Tower. Atar trying to just get a little bit of ult charge here, peek around and see if he can get some Helix Rockets hits.
D.Va's really going through a lot of mechs right now, and I don't think the South Korean government appreciates that. Those are expensive.
Those are so expensive, though.
That's right. You'd think they are.
Millions and millions of dollars just thrown away.
I mean, maybe they're not actually. Maybe that's why it's okay. Maybe they've got like a partnership with Sweden. They're like IKEA brand mechs. I don't know. Here we go. Australia coming in again. They're on the point, trying to flip it. They nearly do. Portugal back on just in time, and Horthic with the kill on to Trill early on. There's the sound barrier for Australia, trying to keep people up. Sound barrier on the Portugal side as well. All the defensive ults being popped. And as they end, Atar trying to use that tac visor, but he can't get a great angle onto this. Another self-destruct. It looks like Australia might have enough to flip this point. Looks like they probably do.
Yeah, even though the zoning for Portugal was good, trying to push him off, the rest of the team forces their way onto the point, takes it with 76% from Portugal. And we'll see if they have an answer here coming back around. A lot of ults dropped in that fight, but at least they have that tac visor. Australia does have the ability to control it. Trill can get in his face with the Primal Rage.
Yeah. Trill's been dying pretty early in a lot of these fights here, too. Ooh. Oh, nothing out of that Pulse Bomb. Looked like a good setup for I Eat You Up, but couldn't quite find those kills.
Well, a lot of the reason why Trill has been dying is because we've seen a lot more flanking from the DPS players on Australia. Meanwhile, Portugal's been playing pretty much a death ball, running straight in. So I think we need to see Australia not play so aggressively with their front line and take advantage of their positioning a bit better.
It's a lot more support for Mauzasa when he dives in, basically, or dives in with Portugal. Hopefully not dives in for Portugal. Trying to get back on the point right now. Mauzasa indeed diving in. Biotic Fields down for both teams right now as they try to fight around those pillars. Portugal looping around the side. There's a sound barrier for Australia. They're going to get aggressive now. Atar again has that ultimate available. Both teams using their sound barriers at the same time, and as they run out, we're going to see Australia maybe get a bit more aggressive. No, they're going to have to fall back now. Again, Disco Fever. Both Zenyatta's ulting, and here comes Atar again with that tac visor. They got to block as much as they can with that defense matrix, but not really a whole lot of targets. Again, it does at least zone Portugal back and give Australia more time to build up control percent.
But this is a slow push onto the point because Trill did die one more time, so they're going to be poking their way ever so deliberately forward.
Yeah, Kiki popped out of the mech right now. Manages to get the self-destruct off just in time. Australia, though, losing a lot of people. I think Portugal might be able to flip this one. They need to dislodge the last of the Australian players off that point. IHU being so annoying. Just trying to delay this as much as possible, going after Gray, but gets kicked down. And that is going to be a point flip at 99% in favor of Portugal.
Both of these teams have been so deliberate. You don't see them pushing too quickly. Portugal knew that they were going to be able to grind them down in a 6v5 once Trill had been poked out and killed in that fight. So they're not playing too antsy, they're not playing too aggressively, and now we're heading to a 99-99 engagement.
Oh, absolutely. Australia coming in right now, trying to use that self-destruct to push people back. There's a Primal Rage. This is Portugal's moment. They've got to defend. Kiki does pop Kyler out of the mech, though, with that ult.
But Kyler going to get him with the Buddy Blaster, actually. So Portugal, the tides are turning in their favor as they forced Australia to engage beyond the point and use that self-destruct early. And now Portugal is mopping it up.
Now Transcendence again. They were able to use that sound barrier to maintain. And now with the second support ult, they can get aggressive, go for the cleanup. Morthic kills Kiki. There's a nice Helix rocket onto Trill. And slowly but surely, Portugal's going to take it. They will claim the first round here on Lijiang Tower.
Portugal didn't panic, even when Australia hit 99% right there. As long as they could contest it and slowly move their way forward, the shot calling really working out very well for them. This team of players with a lot of unknowns on it, being led by the Laser Kittens, is actually showing us some pretty good games.
They just look so calm when they play.
Yes.
I mean, the decision-making, the movement of all the players on the team, there's not a lot of franticness that you see from some of the other teams that are having some of those shot-calling issues, like you would look at maybe Sweden in that category. But Portugal just looks very tight, very calm with how they approach, how they fall back, and it's given them the lead here on Lijiang Tower.
And you never know what you're going to get with players that don't have a lot of LAN experience. Australia has been having that in-person experience for months right now, so you expect them to be a little more calm and collected, but Portugal looks like they're equal in that category, and now, Noah, we get to see the Sombra.
Oh yeah, Gray on that famous Sombra pick again, gonna hack the big health pack up at the top as well. As soon as he gets a few shots, off onto Gunba. They do get him. Nice picks early on for Portugal, and Gray coming back. That big health pack that he hacked right there, that's the one you really want to get if you're the Sombra team. And Portugal has already gotten a pretty awesome position here at the point.
Yeah, Gray did some work right there. He's trying to get the hack off on the forward health back to deny that from Australia. They can't pick it up frequently as they're going to be poking in. So that's going to be a big win there, even though they didn't get... Oh, now he's got a lot of ult charge, excuse me, as some of his teammates are picking up those health packs.
He's getting close to that EMP, and he's got the high ground to dive down and utilize that.
My ultimate is almost
Seeing if they're actually going to commit to the point right here. It has been a ton of poking in this match so far with...
Here we go.
Not a lot of actual all-in combat.
Looking for that Zenyatta. There it is. He finds an instant kill onto Gunba. How many times have we seen that? It's tough being a Zenyatta sometimes. Gray tries to get out. Oh, that was so close, man. Nearly translocated away, but couldn't quite make it. Australia on the point. They did lose their Zenyatta, but they're getting everybody else. So despite being Sansa support, they take that point pretty easily.
Well, Addicted died. Australia focused him down right at the start of the fight. So the one-for-one trade, not worth it when the EMP didn't provide enough disruption on the other members of the Australian team.
Yeah, I think Gray may have kind of tunneled a little bit too much on killing the Zenyatta and didn't give enough of a benefit for the rest of his team to capitalize on.
And now we're going to be in another long approach right here. Portugal looking to get some harassment on the backside of the point while the rest of Portugal engages.
Yeah. Australia with a good position there to defend. Nice pulse bomb from Maiju up. That pick on Gray is going to slow everything down for Portugal by quite a bit.
Both Tracer players were looking for that backline pick. Addicted was at 95% and trying to find a support. If he could catch one out on the backside, but IEU up just a little bit faster. Portugal remains calm, however. They're holding on to their ultimates. They disengage. They know that fight is lost.
Oh, run! Morthic maybe not expecting to find the Space Gorilla there. Got to be careful, getting a lot of ult charge off it though. Trying to push Trill down onto the low ground. Looks like he's been successful, and now there's Attack Visor. He's got the sound barrier to keep him healthy as well. Trill immediately needs to leave. Nice EMP comes in for Gray. Oh, but he missed Gunba, able to transcend immediately afterwards, but it's not stopping Portugal. Nice hack as Gray gets the kill onto Aichu up, and that is definitely going to be a point flip in favor of Portugal.
And Australia is doing well at staying spread out and staying out of the line of sight of Sombra, so Gray has not been able to get the most efficient ultimates.
Yeah.
It's still going to be a flip for Portugal, but Australia reaching up to 76% means they only need a little bit more time on the point to make things happen.
Yeah, they've got a few ultimates. got the self-destruct, they've got the pulse bomb in just a moment for you up. Primal Rage coming soon for Trill. As Australia comes onto the point right now, pulse bomb used without a lot of benefit. Trill does get the kill onto Kyler though. Self-destruct forcing Portugal away, up onto that high ground that maybe Australia can take advantage of. Orthic coming around the side, has to run away though. As Trill comes in, and Australia does actually manage to flip it. They just zone Portugal out long enough, and now the kills come in. Orthic firing away at that Primal Raging Winston, but you need a bit more than that. Couldn't get to the ult in time, and that biotic field doesn't help you out when you're already dead, buddy. Sorry.
And that is a very late kill as well. So Australia looking to close out the second point here on Lijiang Tower.
A nice kill by Addicted, but Australia still in a pretty good position to hold this. Portugal, though, still on the point for the moment. There's the sound barrier. We'll see if they can maybe come back here. Atar looping on the side. Oh, nice flank onto Horthic. He can't expose himself too much, though. Horthic does kill Kiki. It's such a brawl on the point yet again. Portugal nearly has it flipped, and they do. They take it away from Australia again at 99%.
And Horthic retaining his tactical visor. They're not using it for cleanup, knowing that they may have to have that ultimate if they're going to push this all the way through. And that combination can be deadly with the EMP. Australia is going to have to be super careful with how they approach this. They need to split up and not all get hit. They've got time to make it work.
There's the EMP.
That was a great trance.
Okay, Transcendence comes in for Australia. Again, the EMP didn't affect Gunba. And so now Atar free and clear here. He might be able to pop this tag visor. Yeah, there we go. Here's the opportunity. Both 76s looking for kills on each side. Portugal, though, losing a few people. Australia trying to scramble with what they've got left, and it's a 76 duel. A little bit of help comes in from I Eat You Up, and Kyler does go down in the back during all of that. Australia flips it back. We're into OT again, 99-99, and only Mauzasa on the point right now. He Primal Rages. That's going to buy a lot of time for Gray to come back in. And now Addicted, Kyler coming in from the side. Australia nearly had it, but that Primal Rage might make the difference. And there's the EMP. Gray does go down, but Australia struggling a little bit here as the reinforcements for Portugal come in. This could be a long OT, but maybe that sound barrier is enough to break it.
That's going to be enough, Doa. Australia had it. That was such a good transcendence from Gunba. They got the read. They realized that the Sombra was sneaking around on the back side and able to just pop it before they could get the EMP off. So doesn't matter if you're going to pop that tac visor then, because everybody already being healed. So very nicely done. They knew exactly which ultimates were up. They were ready for them. And we're seeing some very exciting games. And this is definitely the best Overwatch we've seen so far in Sydney.
I think so. This is definitely the highest level play we've had on both sides.
Yes.
And the adaptation that you mentioned from Gunba and that Zenyatta, he got EMP'd and killed that first time. He's like, never again. And his positioning since then has been perfect. So now we go to the final round here in Lijiang Tower. A chance for Portugal to tie things up here on Night Market. Australia, though, wanting to take that 2-0 lead, but even if they do, it's been a close series.
It's been extremely close.
Atar on the Genji this time around, swapping off the Soldier. We saw a little bit of Genji yesterday from him, but not a whole lot.
I'm excited to see this too, because it's going to throw Portugal, I think, for a loop a little bit. They have been focused on getting him down on the Soldier or not providing him with the best opportunities to tac visor, and now they're going to have to switch up their strategy to contain him.
Portugal, as you can see, can't quite approach things the same way they were with Atar on that Soldier 76. That said, though, Portugal working on taking the point first, but Australia coming back in again. I believe Kiki, did lose his mech, so that could be an opportunity here for Portugal to secure the point. Australia with a little bit of control meter built up. And as Atar cuts away at people in the back lines, it looks like Australia, they've just ground out enough of the members of Portugal to take that point.
And Atar already at 90% of that Dragon Blade. So Australia going to have a powerful defense right now.
And nearly 4 ults already. That was a great fight for Australia.
Yeah, it was very good. Again, the patience there. Atar doing so much work for this Australian roster, but has struggled in this match because of how he's been focused by Portugal on that 76. Finding new opportunities, and we'll see if he can close this out on the Genji.
Well, I'm glad we're seeing Australia being challenged. You know, I mean, it looked definitely a little bit too easy for them yesterday, but today they're having to make some adaptations. Atar on this Genji, trying to make it work. Sound barrier for Australia as Portugal goes on the attack. Atar waiting for that opportunity to draw out the Dragon Blade, and there it is, going in now, takes out Fat almost immediately, looking for more targets, trying to find somebody. Horthic does go down, got a little bit of help from Trill there. and it looks like Australia should be able to hold the point for now.
Atar did not want to use the Dragon Blade there, but once the kill came through onto Gunba, he was forced to do it to maintain control of the point. But you see that discipline in the shot calling. Being conservative, not over-committing to ultimate usage, and only holding on to what's necessary. And that's going to mean another win for Australia as they approach 70%.
You know, Portugal, though, if you look at their ults, too, they played that calmly. They didn't overcommit anything. They're going to come into this with close to 5 ultimates themselves. They've got a good chance to swap it back. And that's a pulse bomb that's stuck. Oh, but the Transcendence comes in just in time. I eat you up, looking for a little bit more. Kyler does find the kill onto Atar, actually. Atar caught out a little bit unawares by that self-destruct, it looks like. And now Australia trying to chase the members of Portugal off the point. They do take out Gray. Good start for Australia here, but Trill is really low. Has to try to escape. That was very close. Needs some healing. Needs some healing now. Oh, he didn't get it. And Mauzaza stops Kiki as well. Portugal might actually be able to flip this out here at the last moment. Yeah, it looks like they will. So once again, Australia 99%, and Portugal takes the point back.
And Fat holds his sound barrier as well. So Portugal should be able to get a pretty good run here now that they've finally been able to get control of this point.
Yeah.
Australia could have let it go, I think, a bit earlier on.
The support ults have been so much better for Portugal today. I mean, we saw the layering a lot, using them at bad times, but here it's been great. Speaking of support ults, a lot of them use on both sides. Australia does actually layer their Transcendence and sound barrier just a bit. Atar, though, with the Dragon Blade, he can turn it all around right now, and killing Gray is a great start for that. Looking for more. There goes Mauzaza. Australia making an effort here to take the point back again, and it looks like they've won enough of the fight to do that.
And Kiki had the clutch angle for the defensive matrix because Horthic was not able to get a good tactical visor into the fray as Australia wrapped back around onto the point right now. We are into overtime as it flips.
Man, and RQT trying to put the period on this sentence, getting a few kills on that Lucio. Self-destruct for Australia, just trying to zone Portugal out enough. We're into overtime, and they should have it. So close yet again. Gotta kill Addicted. Soon as they get him out of the way. Oh, can't get back to the point in time. That's a win for Australia. They are up 2-0 in this series. It's been a close one, but Australia, they've been clutch both times.
They have been, and I like the switch of Atar over to the Genji. And it wasn't answered by the Sombra on the other side, where Sombra can be useful for hacking as the Genji tries to dash in, shutting him down in that manner. So I think we're going to need, again, to see more of this Sombra play from Portugal. They'll have a chance as they select the next map as well.
That's right. Well, we're going to check out some awesome highlights from those first couple games, then take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll see if Portugal can get a little bit of momentum going on their side. I need a break, too. We'll see you guys in just a few.
The Overwatch World Cup is brought to you by Omen by HP, T-Mobile, and Blizzard Entertainment.
All that grows must also wither and die. What dies and rots will then nourish the living. This is the great cycle of being, and we, the priests of Rathma, use our dark art to protect it. Though most do not understand us, we go where we are needed. My master has learned that a star fell in the west, drawing the dead from their graves. He commands me to journey to Tristram and return them to their rest. For if the cycle is not upheld, it would mean the end of all things.
Welcome back, everyone, to the halftime show here for Australia versus Portugal. And Australia is up 2-0 in the count, but this has certainly not been an easy matchup by any means whatsoever for the home team. So we have to address this. Portugal is playing some great Overwatch right now.
They really are. I mean, their engagements are so deliberate, so calculated, and the way they are listening to the shot callers, how Gray and Mosasa are actually keeping that team together is absolutely fantastic to witness, and I love that they actually challenge Australia here. And really, it's not been too easy for the Aussies here.
No, not at all. I mean, not once, but 2 times, really. You know, they took that Lijiang game, which was their pick, all the way to the 3rd round, which is very impressive. But, James, the Australians were able to find a way to bounce back, get themselves 2 critical victories here.
There was a little bit of Australia finding a way to bounce back, and also just the power of Sombra just running out of steam. As we got to the later portions, as we got to the 3rd map of Lijiang, in particular, Night Market, Sombra isn't the strongest pick, so we saw Gray having to swap back onto that Zenyatta, and we saw that there is a huge difference in how he can impact the game.
Now, Flame, what is your takeaway from this matchup for Portugal, most importantly, because they have been very impressive despite being down 0-2?
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of things to look forward to. You can tell that Australia is really respecting them. I think at that game of, I want to say it was Garden, was probably one of the more obvious times where you could really see Australia being super disciplined in their engagements. Both teams not really favoring the dive comps. They're trying to like counter dive in that neither team really wants to engage the other one first because there's such a risk of losing your Tracer, losing your 76. And they're all using their ults very smart. I mean, this Portugal leadership from Gray and Malzasa has been top notch. Kyler's Diva has been super the entire time. And you can't say enough about Addicted and Horthic. Like, I don't know where they came from. I didn't see so much of them yesterday. But today it's been nonstop just gameplay. Australia, too, you have, what's his name, Atar on the Genji.
Yeah.
He spent a lot of time on 76 yesterday, and we were praising him. But that last round of Night Market, he was just, it was his show. And he took the game by the horns, and he just went with it. And that was really all they needed to finish off that map.
Yeah, it certainly was the Atar show there, man. But Gray, I mean, we're seeing a couple highlights of Gray on the screen. What a difference
his tracking.
This makes.
Just look at his tracking. He's just so very good in positioning himself and like creating a space for his team and hacking at the right health packs for his team. I don't know, it's just like generally, the communication over in Portugal is just incredible good, and I honestly didn't even expect that because they're not a whole team coming here like Australia, you know, like,
yeah.
And all the other teams which were like a select few from different countries, they struggled with that aspect of the game, but Portugal just seems to have their act together.
And you know, if you would have told me that this Portuguese team wasn't a full roster, I actually wouldn't believe you at first because it's crazy how good communication and how great shot calling in game can really impact a team and bring everyone together, just as the way that, you know, Gray and Malzasa have been accomplishing here. But guys, go ahead and take a look at the match results here. If you're just joining us, you're missing one heck of a good game because Australia and Portugal are going at it. Don't let that scoreline fool you. This has been a very close matchup between 2 talented teams. We started the day off with Sweden, who capitalized on a victory there against Italy 4-0. They're going to look pretty going into tomorrow's matchup against Australia, and that one has a lot on the line, especially considering how well Portugal will perform here. So, James, bringing you back in here, Australia has a lot to look forward to. We can safely assume that Horizon will come up, or actually, maybe not. You know, maybe let me eat my words here. You don't think so? Everyone now is like, I don't know, especially with the way these 2 teams are playing. What do you think, James?
No, I fully expect Portugal to take this on over to Volskaya. We saw the strength of Gray on Sombra. On King's Row, he pulled it out. Put a great defense on that 3rd point there to really put a stop to Australia. Unfortunately, their offense wasn't able to recreate that. We saw also on Lijiang. Gray goes on Sombra. He had a hugely impactful game. And again, in his matchups yesterday, he was one of the deciding factors on Volskaya. So we're definitely going to see that. We're going to see Gray on that Sombra, and I can't wait to see how Australia adapts to it.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we are going to have the conclusion of this match between Australia and Portugal. What will be map 3? We'll discuss that and so much more after this.
The Overwatch World Cup is brought to you by Omen by HP, T-Mobile, and Blizzard Entertainment.
Always remember that power is a double-edged blade. One side light, the other dark. It calls to you when you are most desperate. When victory seems worth any sacrifice. There is a price to be paid for such a gift. And many eagerly accept the bargain. The righteous and the meek may recoil at its cost. But they have no vision. Power alone is not to be feared. Fear instead those who wield it.
Welcome back to the desk, and as we get ready for match 3 in this set, it certainly is very interesting. Pretty cool. Cosplay here has been spot on, the 76 and Ana. I appreciate it. It's so good. I'm not that creative. I don't have I'm talking to someone online, as a matter of fact, who she reached out and said, "Oh, I'll make you
Are you finally getting your Widowmaker? Oh,
I'm going to make a Doomfist arm for you."
you.
And I was like, "Oh, then hook it up in that T-Mobile Magenta." You know what I'm saying? So this might happen. Just hit you with that product placement.
Shirtless?
You know shirtless all day. I think everyone here wants to see me shirtless.
Just making sure.
100%.
Woo!
I can guarantee you, you're cheering now, but when it happens, you will regret that decision very quickly. I just show up here shirtless with with just the blazer on. That would be bad. And I think even my wife will tell me to put a shirt on. That's where we're at right now, 10 years in. All right, Flame, what do you got for the map here? Let's talk about the game here for a moment. What do you have?
I mean, I hope that they go to Volskaya. I haven't been right, I think, the entirety of this tournament. That includes Shanghai, so we're off to a pretty good start here if they do go to Volskaya. I think I was wrong yesterday, too, at least twice. But, you know, we'll go forward. I do want to see if they can incorporate it. They did beat Sweden on that map. They should be able to take it there. It's hard, too, because they did play King's Row. So I don't feel like we're getting the full power of Portugal right now, as I didn't mean to make a, what's it called, an alliteration? No.
Okay.
Maybe. English is bad right now, but point being, I do think that they'll bring it there. I do want to see Gray on the Sombra. They didn't bring it on King's Row. It's not that good on King's Row. It's also really not that good on Li Zhang outside of Control Center, and I do think that this is Portugal's time to bring this back. I do want to see them win some maps, and they need to if they want to get ahead of Sweden tomorrow.
All right, guys. Well, it's time to get into it and to see how this match is going to play out. Will it be Australia going up 4-0, or can Portugal answer back right here, right now? Let's send it over to our casters.
Hey guys, Doe and Monty back for the second half of Portugal versus their opponents. Australia should be good.
You got a nice lead in for the crowd. The suspense was really killing me on that one.
That desk segment, man, that threw me off. I'm like, how do I follow that?
I'm just looking forward to Shirtless Boy now.
I didn't have time to take my shirt off during the break, but I'll work on that later. Guys, this is a really close one. Australia's got the 2-0 right now, but Portugal's certainly threatening. I could see this going 2-2.
And Volskaya, I think, is definitely the pick you go for here.
Flame was right.
He was
right. Congratulations, Flame.
I think you definitely go for this. You can run the Sombra on both points very effectively right here, and that has been the bread and butter of Portugal so far, because they can, with Gray's shot calling on the Sombra, they can play around the hacks, they can play around the EMPs so effectively. Question now is, are we going to see Atar on that Genji once again, or is he going for the Soldier?
I wonder. I mean, both certainly do have their uses on Volskaya, and it looks like we are going to have Portugal on the attack first from what we can see on our other screen. We'll share that info with you, the fans, because we're nice that way.
That's right.
We're kind. Yeah, there we go. Now you know.
We're not actually prescient. We can't see the future, but we can see St. Basil's Cathedral in a monitor, apparently.
I do have some psychic and magical abilities, but I don't use those for Overwatch casting.
Wow, that's really disappointing. I think you should definitely use them for Overwatch casting if you have them, Noah.
I mean, it's pretty much lighting things on fire with my mind, so I don't think that would really be great for casting.
So you can only see the future if you light it on fire at the same time.
That
seems like a really crappy superpower.
The Lord of Light shows me the way, Monte Cristo. All right, fine, Tracer. We'll get to it. Portugal on the attack. Australia on the defense in the blue, of course. And Gunba swapping over to the Sombra this time.
It's just so strong on both of these points. I think you should be trying to play that. Atar will be on the Soldier 76 right now.
You ever look inside those health packs? Kind of looks like the stuff that turned the Ninja Turtles from regular turtles into wisecracking, weapon-swinging Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Unfortunately, it doesn't have that effect in Overwatch, though.
That would be great. Maybe the next patch, who knows?
Here we go. Looking like they're going to run Ana on the attack here, so they're going to be playing above the point. Quick flank all the way on top of that high ground.
Yeah, very, very quick. Horthic running in there, trying to get a few shots off onto RQT on the other side. They're going to send the Winston over. Good position here for Portugal.
Mosaso just got booped off the map, actually. Kiki came up and scooped him off while his bleep was on cooldown.
Mosaso, we saw him jump across the point to try to put some pressure on Australia, but like you said, that means no lead cooldown and no way to save yourself from that Diva knockoff.
I mean, it was just sort of awkward, honestly, the way he went in there mostly by himself. Thought he had the zoning from Horthic across the point onto the door, but Kiki just popped up from the low ground. You have to be very careful that the Diva doesn't knock you off on this particular point. It is very easy for her to shift up and push you over.
Usually you don't get knocked that far, though, so I think he was probably a little bit surprised that he ended up getting that much air. There's the EMP already from Australia, and they are going to come in strong here as Portugal gets trapped a little bit in this room and taken down. Looks like it's going to be a bit of a reset from Portugal.
Yeah, convincing early engagements from Australia. No purchase at all on the point for Portugal. I think they're going to have to rethink this one a little bit. Gray does have the nano boost, but we're still pretty far away from attack visor, so a point clearing combo not in the cards for another few, like maybe 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean maybe one more eco push coming in here for Portugal, and then they'll be ready to go for the one that's actually intended to take the point.
They're going to come to the opposite high ground right now.
Yeah, well, they're making Australia react, which is always good. There's a nano boost on the Mausaso a little bit early, taking a page out of Japan's playbook, it looks like. Hyde You Up, meanwhile, gets the pick on the Gray with a pulse bomb, and that is bad news for Portugal. Mausasa pops a Primal Rage, following suit with Trill. There's the sound barrier from Australia, and they've already more or less pushed Portugal back. That's going to be a reset. And I think Portugal ended up dedicating a little bit more than they wanted to, but now Gray swaps over to that Sombra.
Back to the Ana.
Now back to the Ana. Okay.
Not really losing old charge right there, considering that he did actually just use the nano boost. But Portugal, if they want to funnel everybody into that health pack room on the right-hand side, you need to provide pressure from the front doorway, and that just didn't happen. The nano boost was a bit early onto Mosasa, so it ran out while he was trying to engage, but they didn't really provide pressure from the other angle to force the members of Australia into the nano boosted Winston, so it ended up being sort of a wash.
Addicted didn't get anything with his pulse bomb. Meanwhile, Hyde You Up finds his target. Gray goes down again, and another easy defense for Australia.
He's just been destroying the backline with these pulse bombs, finding Gray on that low mobility hero, Ana.
That late self-destruct, though, coming in from Kiki, perhaps a bit unnecessary. They may wish they had that one for the next push, because Portugal's going to come in with probably their strongest push that they're going to have yet in this round.
Yeah, and no EMP, and not really that close either. It's going to be in the middle of this fight or anything. Portugal not going to try and poke them down and give more ult charge over from the health packs to the members of Australia.
Gray fairly close to his nano boost, too. They need to make this attack work. It's 30 seconds left. Portugal coming in. Gray getting very, very low, though. There's a shot for Horthic. He goes out and uses that attack visor, finds RQT. Could be the opportunity they've been looking for. Aether very, very low on the outside, goes down. That's another one for Horthic in Portugal. Finally seems like they found the fight they need to take point A.
Yeah, nano boost more reactive that time after they already had control of the point, meaning Australia had to walk walk into the nano boosted Winston this time. Atar never found that opportunity to use his tac visor, but they're going to save it, and they're nearly back at the MP. So Australia, yes, they lose that first point, but they got so much time on that defense, much more than we typically see on Volskaya, and they're going to have a strong hold here as Portugal had to invest everything to take point A.
No, they're trying to slam through with the momentum anyway. Porthic getting very aggressive, getting a bit blocked though by Kyler. Meanwhile, H2 up, another pick onto Mauzasa. His pulse bombs have been so good this defense.
Yes, they absolutely have been. Patching out the critical members, making sure Australia always has a man advantage.
Yeah.
Addicted here, looking for an opportunity while he waits for the rest of his team. Australia sitting on a wealth of ults right now, didn't have to use that EMP, and only 3 minutes left for Portugal to take some of this control percent here on B.
Yeah, Australia had a really good defense on point A, and even though they ended up losing it, they set themselves up for what should be a hold here. Pulse bomb comes in. I believe that got eaten, though.
Definitely did.
Yeah, not getting anything done with that ultimate. Meanwhile, the EMP for Gunba comes through. Australia storming in. They want to try to get some defensive kills. Kyler is popped out of the mech, and it looks like that should be it. As Trill gets the kill onto Horthic. Yeah, Portugal needs to fall back right now.
Yeah, they have to reset, fall off the map, make sure that they can get back as quickly as possible. Some time lost, and Australia maintains that tac visor. So Atar, again, we've seen him all match sitting on that ultimate. Such patience with his tac, and that's really paying dividends right now for Australia because they always have it in their back pocket.
Well, Portugal with a lot of ults coming in here now. They're going for it. We'll see what Nano Boost can give to Mauzasa. There's a sound barrier as well. They force Australia to scatter off the point for the moment, and RQT found on the outside of that. Now Horthic comes in with his tac visor. Oh, but he gets taken out immediately. Atar packed his in as well. And Australia looks like they're going to be able to come back. Portugal, man, they put everything they had into that, and they didn't even get a single tick.
I mean, Horthic walked up, but Kiki was still on the point, so it was easy for him just to tilt that defense matrix onto the high ground and absolutely nullify the Portuguese tactical visor. So Atar gets the better of it. He is now going to switch to the Genji. So a mix-up here from Australia as they move into a deeper dive composition.
I think they realize they need to go in and make some picks. I mean, RQT got picked once, but he really hasn't been under that much pressure here in the second point. Portugal sending Addicted around the side now just to try to distract a bit as the rest of his team tries to come in from the front. Has the attention at least of Kiki for the moment. And here's the sound barrier. EMP comes through immediately.
Well, that was a big nullification. Nobody going to get any kind of purchase on that attack as the supports go down. And I really like this switch for Australia because we've seen a lot of success from IEU up with those pulse bombs onto the Portuguese supports so far on this map. So why not just double down? There's clearly a vulnerability that's happening right there where Kyler is not able to really protect the supports properly or playing maybe perhaps a little bit too aggressively as that diva. So you can double down, double your chances to maybe pick up those early support kills with the Genji.
You know, I think if you look at IEG Up's play too, just like yesterday, I feel like it takes him a couple maps to sort of get warmed up. I feel like he looked stronger towards the end of their series yesterday too, and now he's starting to really make a lot of those picks. Oh, Gray.
You
nice
caster cursed him.
I know. I caster cursed him. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, IEU Up. I shouldn't talk about how good you are. Just gets you killed. RQT gets a kill into Addicted as well. Portugal maybe having to back off just a little bit, but Gunba coming in so close to that EMP yet again. If he can get that, ooh, barely didn't get that hack, and he has to be careful. There's the EMP. Now he needs to follow up from his team. RQT does go down early. Sound barrier for Portugal, though. He didn't catch Fat with that one, but it looks like it doesn't really matter. Australia should have the win right here on point B. Just a couple seconds left.
That should be
Portugal.
And
they get back to the point in time. They've got Mauzasa there, but as soon as that Primal Rage is done, that might be about it. They send in Genji. Horthic trying to make the difference. That might be enough time now for Portugal to come back, but Atar gets the kill into Horthic after he pulls out the Dragon Blade. And with the sound barrier for Australia, we'll see if that's enough. Gray does go down. Self-destruct buys Portugal a little bit more time.
But they haven't even gotten the first tick, Doa. Australia has had a great defensive round here, and it's just about picking up these stragglers, and that is it.
Very impressive from Australia. Really great point A defense. Barely gave it up at the end, and then point B just looked straight up untouchable.
Yeah, they did. Horthic did have the late switch over to that Genji, realizing that they were just getting stuffed on the tactical visors. Kiki's positioning was a bit too good, zoned out consistently, so wanted to be able to get into that back line, but got his Dragon Blade so late that there really wasn't an opportunity to use it. Was hacked immediately after pulling out the blade as well.
Yeah.
And Australia, they only have to get that first point now on B in order to take Volskaya.
Man, that seems like not necessarily the toughest thing for this team.
No, and you look at Portugal, yes, they picked the Sombra map, but Gunba also whipping it out, and that means that they have that opportunity. Come back here.
Yep. Well, as we get set up for Australia's attack round, a lot on the line for Portugal here again. You know, they really could use at least 1 or 2 map wins to try to stay alive in the group. But if they go down something like 0-4 or, you know, 1-3 to Australia, that's going to make it very, very tough for them.
I mean, this is a statement match because Portugal has been playing well so far at this World Cup, and Australia has been beating them on their own maps, ready for the Sombra play. And now we're going to see Australia looking like they may also go for the Ana. So we may see a similar high ground push as we saw from Portugal on their attack.
I mean, it is a strong statement, too, from Australia, because not only are they winning again, but they're winning against a Portugal that actually looks better than they did yesterday. Like, this Portugal team might have actually 4-0'd Sweden yesterday. They're playing a lot more tight.
I agree. They have been improving, it seems, in the last 24 hours. Now, Portugal is going to go for a mobile defense here, so Australia has to be careful because they could get dove on by 3 or 4 members very easily from the Portuguese side.
Very true. Australia running right in, taking that right side route that we see so often these days. Trying to get out to that room to sort of control that big health pack that they know Sombra's going to try to exploit.
So are we going to see the counter dive here from Australia? Instead, they're going to go down. They have that health pack under control right now, but it is already hacked.
Yeah, Australia trying to come in again. Oh, but Chup goes down early. Good start for Portugal.
Yeah, it seems like he probably got hacked off of camera now, and now this is where you really all in into this room, and Australia at least holding the high ground, but they're kind of getting a bit frazzled here.
Yeah, I mean, Portugal slowly but surely seeming to sort of pick apart the Australian team, and they may need to back off here.
And EMP is nearly ready. It's up now, Doa.
Yep. Gonna try to use it. Gray is ready to go at that. Ooh, Mauzasa very low though. EMP comes through, but it doesn't save the tank.
And Australia, bit too late.
Huge opportunity for Australia here to try to take this point early, and I think you're right, man. That EMP didn't quite come out in time, and Portugal going to pay for it by losing point A very quickly.
But even after the initial pick, Australia managed to maintain that ground, not giving any advantages, even though they were caught in that small room, backing back up to the high ground and waiting for the respawns to come in. And Gray, if that EMP had been just a little bit earlier, there may have been an opportunity to keep his team alive.
Yeah. Now look at the ult charge on the side of Australia. They are already very close to 6 ultimates. If they do like 1 ecology push or economy push.
Ecology push. Whoa.
We're getting very scientific now. 1 eco push, we'll just say that from Australia. Then they can storm back in and have a really good shot at winning this one. They only need that first tick.
They do. Crucial pick into IEU up there from Portugal to get them a little time, but Australia has all the time in the world. They're running up on 6 ultimates right now. They played such a disciplined attack. They didn't have to commit anything, so they can really wait as long as necessary. Play it safe right here. Don't use your ults. Draw them out of Portugal, and then make sure you just get that 1 tick.
Yep, here we go. 6 ultimates right now for Australia. They are ready to go. Where's the nano boost going to go? Atar right away pops that attack visor, gets pushed back by Portugal. They're going to drop the sound barrier as well. Atar with the duel. Oh, nice save by Kyler there to keep his tracer up. And now Atar has that nano boost. Gets hacked, gets cut down by Orphic. And despite all those ultimates, it looks like Portugal's going to hold.
That was absolutely huge and totally unnecessary from the Australian side. You only have to get that first tick.
Yeah.
Wait. Play some. They've been playing so conservatively and so well so far, but that was a bridge too far.
The ordering for the ultimates was very surprising, that they would send Atar in first with attack visor before softening anybody up. Before getting that diva out of the way, maybe. A little bit shocking. Australia, again, they only need that first tick. It's still very winnable for them with 5 minutes on the clock yet, but that might have been actually their best opportunity already.
They at least have shown a little bit of weakness in their teamwork for really the first time this weekend.
Yeah, Mauzasa does go down though, and does Horthic. This is the opportunity. So when it comes down to it, just picks for Australia may have done the trick. That control meter's building up fast. Aichu up, diving back in, getting the health back from the recall, and now he's got to deal with the respawn. Mauzasa does get the kill though, and they are so close. EMP though comes in for Portugal, and that might be enough to turn things around. We will see. Australia is still very, very close to winning this one right here, right now. And if they can take out Gray, they got addicted. That's it. Australia able to win Volskaya. It had to get a little bit messy at the end there, didn't it? But they did get the win.
Just a little bit messy, right? There's a very safe and measured way to play that point. Australia perhaps all in a little bit early, but you know what? They came back and won it on the second push anyway, so it didn't prove ultimately consequential. But for a team that has had such tight teamwork so far, that was a little tiny slip up that as this tournament gets harder, as we move into those matches for BlizzCon, keep an eye and see if that happens again.
Absolutely. I mean, when it comes down to it, too, Australia just saying, you know what? Yeah, the L push didn't work out, but we've got Aichu up, we've got Atar. We can get those picks and kind of like grind our way through for the win. Let's just take another look at some of the moments from that one. Atar again with that Genji swap ending up working out pretty well for them.
Yeah, I like that we're just seeing more stuff from Australia today, more compositions, and they have shown mastery on a lot of these heroes, even after having that impressive performance yesterday.
Yeah. Not bad. So here we go into the final map from what we can see here. Looks like it's going to be Route 66, and one more opportunity for Portugal to take a map. They've been so close nearly every time, but I think Australia is just, just that much better.
Yeah, and guess what? Another Sombra map. Yeah. And I think Portugal may have run out of tricks here. Gunba has also shown proficiency on that particular hero, so you can't really say that our Sombra play on that defense is going to be definitively better. And I think that's a big problem. So Australia with the good read and ready for today.
I think, too, if you look at the divas on each side, Kiki kind of over the course of this match showing himself to be kind of definitively the better diva than Kyler.
I think what the difference is that Kyler is great when he is going into the backline, when he's stopping those tac visors, when he's zoning out the soldier.
Yeah.
But Kiki is more versatile when it comes to defending his own supports at the same time.
Exactly.
And the big picks have been impactful from the Tracer player, i.e. up.
When you've got such good DPS on your team too, like Portugal has, you really need a diva that sort of puts others first, that says, yeah, I can get the boops, I can get the damage, but I really need to just get that defense matrix up over my DPS and keep them alive.
Yeah.
So here we go. Welcome to Route 66, the final map for this series between Australia and Portugal. Australia ahead 3-0. It's been a close match, but it's been pretty definitively Australia's.
Yeah, it has. Unfortunately, it looks like as this match has gone on, unfortunately for Portugal, it's been a little bit less competitive in this second half.
True enough.
Volskaya was pretty convincing for Australia after that really tight match on Lijiang Tower.
That's right. So the team's getting set up. Looks like we are going to have Portugal on the attack first once again. They did pick this map.
I'm excited to see what they've got. But, and it looks like at least at first, Gunba may be going for the defensive Ana.
Aliens on Earth, oh my gosh.
The shocking proof.
Whoa.
You found the skeletons
What do you know?
were placed there. As a tourist trap.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Those aren't real?
I hate to spoil it for you.
I think it's all promotion for that movie that's being shot in Hollywood. You've got those same kind of aliens hanging from the ceiling. It's all connected. There's a giant web of lore.
I think it's interesting that in the future they don't just use CG for everything. They actually made the aliens and hung them up there.
I think that's great. They're like, hey, there's this like bombed out shell of where a bunch of stuff used to be on Route 66. Let's put our ad for our movie there. Very ambitious marketing in the future. Australia, as you can see, on the defenses. Portugal gets going here to try to push as far as they can on Route 66. The payload is moving, and Portugal really could use a map win.
They could. Just trying to creep up, see if they can get some poke down on the side. Horthic will be making a return to the Genji this time around. Wants to get that backline dive in just a little bit more. And this is going to be a peek up here onto the top. Tries to get onto the Genji, and they are going to stomp Gunba.
Well, Gunba dives very, very early on due to the super aggressive dive from Portugal. And Australia maybe playing this one a little bit too cautiously. They didn't really jump down onto the payload and sort of get things started when they had a chance. And
It's been moving the whole time, basically, Noah. That's the issue here, is that they didn't slow it down, like you say. And that was tricky play. Good coordination between Mozasa and Horthic, getting the dash and the Winston leap on at the same time to target Gunba in the back line. And we'll see if they're going to have another opportunity here to get on this payload and slow it down.
Well, they're going to send in Winston a little bit early, and that's going to cause Trill to fall very quickly here. They just wanted to stop that payload, but it just doesn't look like the rest of Australia is able to sort of finish the fight.
No, it's not. ATAR couldn't even provide any fire onto the point right there, so it's just a cleanup from Portugal as they cleanly take point A here.
I mean, that was just a big positional advantage for Portugal coming into this one. Australia, when you scramble for the point like that, especially when you send your Winstons in super early, you're just not going to be able to stop that payload. And unfortunately for Australia, that's actually going to give Portugal a good amount of time to get moving here on point B as well.
Yeah, Horthic has to respawn. Went perhaps a little bit too far forward to cut down Gunba once again.
Yeah.
But the payload hasn't been held up hardly at all so far, so a good time here for Portugal. And they're going to try another pincer attack with this leap.
Addicted. Ready to go with that grenade. There is. Oh, did he get the stick? I think he did. Whoa! Gets ATAR and RQT. Great pick by Addicted. Portugal now trying to clean up the rest of this fight. Gunba with the Transcendence, but is it going to be enough? Maybe it is, actually, as Trill and Gunba come in for a couple kills on the side of Portugal, and they do get slowed down a little bit. That's going to be even more a delay now with that self-destruct.
Unfortunately, you can't actually reflect Monkey Fists right there, so has to back off. No harm coming from it. Dragon Blade will be held onto and saved by another engagement. So Australia using the CC from the Winston ultimate really to buy a lot of time for the respawns to come through on their side.
Portugal not wasting any time. They're going to send Horthic in with the Dragon Blade. Oh, and Trill takes him down. Just not a lot of support for that Genji to get things done with Portugal. And that is going to cost them a lot. I mean, that is one thing I will say about Portugal and their Genji play, is that Horthic has not gotten a ton of support when he's pulled out the Dragon Blade. And you can see swapping over to that soldier now. Well, the timing, doing what he can, but there's not a whole lot he can accomplish by himself right now.
The timing may have been a little bit off on that one, as that's going to be a good stagger there from I Eat You Up, even though the pulse bomb was on the ground, still gets a kill.
I mean, I think Addicted knew Horthic was going down there, waving to your teammate as he gets blown away. Nice stuff.
Suiting up.
Yeah, we are seeing that swap, and as you say, the Genji Blade not really working, and it was either a mistiming on that sound barrier combination, or I couldn't see whether or not the sound barrier actually hit him at all. So
I don't think it did.
Yeah, I think he may have. I think he may have gone in assuming that he had a sound barrier, and then didn't actually pick it up right there. So easily focused down by the Winston.
That's right. Self-destruct again. As Portugal tries to get their push going, but they lose Mozasa again very quickly. Didn't quite see how that happened, but it's going to amount to another hold by Australia. Portugal, despite that really strong point A take, is like very much stalled out now in point B.
Yeah, even after they tried to change the strategies, right?
Yeah.
They came around, got the soldier, tried to take high ground position beyond the actual payload and the cart, but Australia read it well. Trill was on top with the Tesla cannon, just punishing all the members, and another pick onto the support means they are in a bit of a dire situation here, because Australia nearly has 6 ultimates now, and with how well they've been managing their ult economy, they should be able to stagger these for the next couple of minutes.
That's a great position for Australia, and man, if they can get a hold right here, they've all but got the 4-0 locked up.
It really shows a strong mentality too, because even though their first defense ended so abruptly, they found their footing, made some swaps, and they've got a great spread defense going.
Portugal coming in again, but Mozasa, I mean, this entire point has been Mozasa going in early, dying, and then everything falls apart.
And they don't have that protection on the back line again. How many times now? Australia is just gunning for Gray. They know that he's the core of this team, and it's harder to call shots when he's under pressure or dead.
I feel like we've seen the same fight like 6 times in a row now on this point.
It's just like a pulse bomb kills Gray.
Like, I don't even need to cast it anymore. Like, you guys know what's going to happen. Transcendence, though, coming in now, and Horthic does get the kill onto Kiki, so a little bit stronger of a start for Portugal as they finally do get the payload moving. But here comes the sound barrier to try to counteract the support ultimates for Australia. Australia now with their own sound barrier. They have the later support ult, and now ATAR coming in with a great tack visor.
That was such a good hold.
Yeah, and Malzasa couldn't quite get to him with the Primal Rage in time. And Atar, he's actually going to live through that. Oh,
Atar
man.
played that so well. The comms on Australia were clean. They knew exactly that both support ultimates were up, got the later support ults each and every time, and they didn't try and combo the Transcendence with that tactical visor immediately. Instead, baiting out the sound barrier in return, and it's just the cleanup coming through. So good discipline on Australia, and now Portugal's in their final push.
I think they've noticed, too, that Portugal likes to try to lead in with the Transcendence. They kind of use that as an engage tool, and so all you got to do is play safe, and then you get the last support ultimate, the big advantage in the fight.
That's it, but Gunba goes down early right here, but IEU up looking for a kill of his own. Pulse bomb on the ground.
Well, if he can get the kill on the Soldier, that might work, but no, Horthic gets it. IEU up does fall, so Australia without a couple people right now. RQT taken out instead, and actually Portugal somehow, some way finds the picks to move this payload forward.
IEU up was trying to use the Pulse Bomb to zone Horthic out of his heal station, and he just barely lost the duel.
Well, you know, you win some, you lose some, and sometimes, well, the hold. Australia, can they get it? Trill does fall, though, so it doesn't look like it. Portugal trying to push forward here, but that OT bar is going to drop so fast. If they get removed from the payload, Australia does take out Malzasa, so there's a good start. If they can keep Kiki alive on the point, maybe they can make something happen. Horthic not getting a lot with that tac visor, but at least getting enough damage done that Portugal will take the point. Wow, that was very close.
Just the zone provided from the tac visor right there on the cart, when you only need a couple more meters, is going to be enough to push them through into the warehouse. So Portugal barely hanging on to this match. Addicted, standing up top already.
Well, this push has turned out already a bit better than I think Portugal would have expected it to turn out 30 seconds ago. They've got an opportunity now, if they can push quickly, to actually finish this. Oh, man.
Well, that was some orbs combined with a Helix rocket.
Yeah.
That punished the peak on the side of Addicted. And Portugal really needed this time, especially as Horthic also goes down to a stagger. So Australia now with maybe only one final defense that they have to undergo here on Route 66.
Now, Portugal's got the ults to do it with. They've got an opportunity here. One last attack coming in, 30 seconds remaining.
I mean, Australia's at 6 ults again, though. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, it's going to be the ult-apocalypse here as Portugal tries to finish their attack run. Defense ults coming up from both sides. Sound barriers used. IEU up looking for that kill on the Zenyatta. That's going to be the Transcendence for Portugal. And actually, IEU up caught by Horthic in the back. He didn't see the 76 coming in from behind. And Australia fighting for their lives here. Portugal actually has a chance to push this one forward.
Now they do. Trill stuns the Primal Rage to buy the time necessary on the cart for IEU up to get back into the fray.
He's still got that Pulse Bomb, and that could come up very, very big for Australia. Uses it. Oh, yeah!
Gets a huge Pulse Bomb!
I would say that's a big Pulse Bomb. Self-destruct comes in for Portugal, but it doesn't matter because everybody besides Kyler is dead, and that is going to be it. Man, IEU up picked a little bit early in that last fight, but it ended up giving him the opportunity to come in with that Pulse Bomb. Crazy end to that run.
That was certainly an exclamation point at the end of that.
Yeah.
You could see that Portugal was ready for him to come down around the backside the first time because they pre-popped that Transcendence just to make sure that their Zenyatta wasn't going to go down and Horthic was covering him. But everybody on the cart there packed up in the overtime, and that leads to a big bomb kill.
Oh, that's tough for Portugal. I mean, you get that pick on the Tracer early and you're feeling so good about that.
I'm sure they were feeling quite
and,
good about that.
You know, then you forget that respawn timer. You know, you mistime it slightly, and then IEU up finding that epic Pulse Bomb for the 3 kills, and that means that Australia, all they have to do is push the payload most of the way through point C, and they will 4-0 this match. It's a long way to go, but it's absolutely doable.
It is doable, Doa, but there's always that possibility of a full hold, especially on Route 66 and especially against a Sombra. If you are able to routinely get those EMPs up on point A, it can be very hard for an enemy to push into you. And we didn't see the Sombra come out for Australia, maybe not feeling as comfortable with it on that map, but Gray is definitely going to use it here.
You know, I suppose when you look at it, Portugal is really positioned better than most teams to hold Australia here early on Route 66. They do have Grand, that Sombra. We know how good he can be. And we can see he is indeed playing the Sombra. So it's kind of on Australia, I feel, to sort of get a really fast attack going. I feel like they need a ton of aggression to take down the Sombra early, prevent the EMP, and try to roll through point A. If they can get through point A, that's going to be the toughest part, I think, against Portugal.
Yeah, I agree with you. That is the hardest point to attack against Sombra.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they can do. They are, of course, going to be ready for this.
Oh, yeah.
There will be no surprises for it. Health pack is going to be hacked first here.
That's it.
Before the one in Big Earls. But with 2 mega health packs on such a short cooldown timer, it can be very hard to make your way past a Sombra on this map, especially when HR is just hacked right off the bat.
Yeah, Gunba falls really early, and Portugal actually the ones coming out strong with this aggressive defense. I like it, but Australia comes back with a couple crucial kills of their own, and Portugal may have actually done themselves in by being a little bit too aggro here.
Oh, and Gray at least will get IEU up at the end, but I'm a bit confused by that defense, Doa. You want to play around the health packs. You just hacked them. Why aren't you diving them?
I do not know, man. I mean, I think maybe you try to counter their presumed aggression with your aggression, and it's just a very, very bizarre decision by Portugal, and Australia is going to make it pay for it big time.
I'm just at a bit of a loss because you're basically preventing yourself from getting any kind of advantage around the heavy healing. And when you're not playing with another support and you're playing towards their spawn, it makes it so challenging for you.
I mean, that poise, that sort of patience that we've seen from Portugal, completely gone now, it seems like.
Well, they may still have another opportunity, though, as Gray does take out Gunba. So that one pick may get them the time they need here.
That's how the last fight started, too, though. Orthic does go down. Kiki with an early kill, and Trill does have that primal rage if he just wants to push everybody from Portugal back right now. But Portugal getting the kills, I think it's going to need to be a reset.
Great got 2 there. I mean, that was some clutch play by the Portuguese Sombra player to turn this back around.
That was a very close call.
It was a very close call there.
And now Gray has that EMP, and now Portugal's gotten a little bit of time to get properly set up on the defense. And the payload's in a good spot for Portugal, too. That's an easy point to defend a lot of times.
Yeah, with it rolling back towards the station, too, they get closer to being able to use both of the mega health packs that are on the flanking sides of the road.
Yep. Here we go, Gray low. There's the EMP. He gets it off just in time, though. His team needs to capitalize on it, though. He went down. Atar waiting for it, survives the initial EMP, has the attack visor now, and what can he get? Portugal on the run, and at least the zoning coming in. Ooh, Pulse Bomb doesn't quite connect, and Portugal losing a couple crucial opportunities to stop Australia's push.
Yeah, the Addicted did zone him out, but I think it's just going to be too much as they shoot down player after player here. Hart will be going through to point A eventually. Orthic makes a last stand in Big Earls, but falls right on the hacked health pack, and that's going to be Australia moving through towards point B.
Yeah, and if you're Australia right now, you breathe a huge sigh of relief after that. Like we said, point A was going to be the toughest one. At this point here, the Sombra gets a little bit less strong, and Australia, with those ultimates, should be feeling very confident about the 4-0.
Yeah, they should. Still a little bit more work to be done, but as you say, the ultimates are there for them, and they did have the opportunity to place themselves in a more advanced position on the map, and they're going to try and collapse here onto Kyler.
Dragon Blade coming in again. That Pulse Bomb went out for IE up. Didn't really see it connect with anything, though. Kiki with the first kill here. Orthic, again, you heard that Dragon Blade come out. He didn't get any kills out of it. The Genji just has not been working out as well as the 76 for this guy.
Yeah, they're just chasing Gray around right there. IE up knowing where his translocator was. They surround him and take him off the map. So Australia still pushing through with a pretty rapid time right now. And that's going to be a one clip from IE up onto Addicted.
You know, when you get those headshots at the end, that certainly helps out a little bit. And I Eat You Up, you know, again, I feel like Addicted is a great Tracer player, no doubt. But I Eat You Up, again, just that slight bit better. And in the end, that really feels like what we see when we compare Australia and Portugal. Is Australia just slightly better in each of the roles, maybe?
Yeah, it is. It's hard to do, that's for sure, especially against the coordination that we're seeing from Australia.
Well, Addicted does get the kill on the Atar, so Australia down their DPS right now. Portugal with a chance to maybe hold a little bit here. Yeah, Addicted coming up really big right now. IHU up trying to equalize, though. He's got that pulse bomb, but he's lost a few members of his team. Time to retreat, and we'll see if he can get out. Nope, not quite. A little bit too much damage taken, and pretty easy for Addicted to capitalize on that.
ATAR did respawn and get a nice Helix rocket at the end, though, to punish Portugal for extending, but they're still going to be able to set up their defense here. Australia will be happy to see that sound barrier from FAT was used at the end of that engagement. Maybe there's going to be a time here where ATAR can get a good tactical visor in use. They're going to be playing around the EMP right now. Eyes out for that one, but that's a big pick from IHU up yet again.
Dude, that accuracy, man. ATAR did a ton of damage, just way over the top coming in. And now Australia going to push forward here. ATAR using the distraction to his advantage as he pops that tac visor. And again, it's all about the zoning, right? They push Portugal back into the rooms, and that lets Australia come in and pick up the stragglers. There goes Malzasa, and that's going to be point B with a ton of time left for point C.
And Gray used the EMP on the back line, but it was too far away from the soldier. ATAR sees the EMP, goes down, immediately flips his direction back to the cart, pulls off the tac visor and pushes it through. So Gray has been going very deep on some of these EMPs in this match. And that one is not going to be terribly effective, and now it's also not going to be present in this final push on C.
So here comes Australia, about 2 minutes to go. With this push, they've only got the Transcendence to work with right now, but if they can draw out a few more ultimates of Portugal, they might be able to get a strong push and finish this one. There's the Transcendence. Australia going in hard here. Portugal with the sound barrier as they fall back a little bit. Malzasa getting really low here, but here's the Dragon Blade. If they can take out Horthic, that is huge. He's so low, he gets taken down. Trill with the kill. It's so ill. Australia coming in with the sound barrier.
Scott was throwing the rhymes there at the end.
I got a rhyme.
That's really going to be it for Australia. They have a self-destruct as well, just to zone people off the cart. They're going to throw it forward, and that's going to pick off Gray.
GG. They're going to get that payload there. Portugal's got the respawns coming in, but it's going to be one at a time, and Australia should have the positioning to finish this one off. There goes FAT, and that is going to be the end of it. I resisted the right there. Australia takes a 4-0, and I gotta say, that was a very close 4-0, but Australia absolutely proving once again that they are the best team in this group and probably the best team here in Sydney.
Yeah, I think you definitely can make that argument. We'll have to see how Finland does later today after some rest and some additional practice, but Australia, especially after the halftime, it was a lot less close. It looked like they had really figured Portugal out.
I agree, and you know, that really clean, tight play that we saw from Portugal early on did start to kind of fall apart a little bit towards the end. It was rough to see, but you know, they still look like a good team. It's going to be tough for them to move forward in this group. We're going to take a quick break, guys, and when we come back, the desk will break down that match. See you